What is up, guys? It is Russ here, PokeRuss here, and we are here for another deck profile. With me today, I have my buddy and friend, Richard Zapp. He's really great at card games, and I figured I'd bring him to the channel to give some new insight on some fun decks that I haven't tried, but he's tried with great success, so have at it.
Thanks, Russ. So, today I had two local events today, both of them being, smaller-ish events, 8 to 12 people events, but I had success at both of them with two relatively unique decks. The first one you'll be seeing today, Blue-Green Shield, and then we have another deck, a Red-Blue Aggressive Rush deck, which is pretty unique, but I'm going to take some time to talk about both of those today. First, we have this Blue-Green Shield deck. So, the concept behind it, the motivation really was, Shield is a very unique leader in the sense that he creates advantage a lot faster than I would say any other leader in the game right now. What makes Shield particularly interesting, though, is, these tokens you pull when they attack. You get a 0/10 token. It's not the cleanest form of advantage because they can't use it for combo bait. You can't often kill things with it. You can apply some early pressure attacking at their unawakened leader. But I found that by using Hidden Awakening Kale and returning Evil Golden Frieza in tandem, you create a very powerful engine of advantage. So essentially the way that it works is on turn 4, you have your shield, might be awakened, might be unawakened. You attack. When you attack, you generate a token, and these tokens eventually line you up to make, say, like a Kale play. On turn 4 or turn 5, you launch your token, blow up their field, swing with a critical. And then on turn 5 or turn 6, you play the returning Evil Golden Frieza. What that does is that'll bounce your Kale, or it'll bounce your other token. But if you bounce the Kale, that sets you up next turn to again swing with Shield, play another token, play another Kale. And a lot of this deck is built around recycling these cards together to create very powerful advantage and very large bodies on the field that your opponent struggles to overcome. So with that being said, let's look at the cards. So starting off with our 1-drops, only 1 drop I currently run is Energy Boosted Majin Buu. And Buu is pretty straightforward, most reliable 1-drop that you have. I don't know if there's anything that needs to be said about that. On 2, I do run 4 copies of Objection. Objection being the primary turn 2 play because it allows you to play your Kale on 3. This is particularly useful against cell decks in which you want to shrink your hand faster, enabling you to not get hurt so bad by Perfect Cell. In addition, it gives you another early blue play, which blue kind of struggles in the early game, to be frank. The second part of our early game engine, Terrible Creator Android 20. Now, the idea behind Android 20 is we use 3 copies of this card to fetch primarily Android 16. While, to be frank, Kale is really the only reason we are playing green, 20 tutoring 16 ensures you have that second green card so that on 4 you can reliably play Kale without charging a card that you would much rather see on field. Android 16 being a blocker for the deck, which as we'll see isn't insanely important, but what 16 does really well is it holds off aggressive pushes due to 5 Gotenks or large pushes with Bobbity. Because we don't have Cold Bloodlust, we need to be very concerned about things like Bobbity, very concerned about things like Bobbity primarily in Gotenks. God Charge Vegeta can sometimes be an issue. But what this allows us to do is to apply aggressive pressure while still having some defense. In the day that I played, I actually didn't have 16 hit the board, but as we'll talk about later, this engine isn't the most essential part of the deck. I'm sorry, actually we have 4 total of Android 20 and 3 copies of the 16. Of course, in the other 2-drop slot, we have 4 copies of Dodoria. Pretty self-explanatory. It's the only yellow card we run, but it's a staple given how powerful 2/12s are in this game. I run 1 copy of TN. I think self-damage is important in any deck that you're playing in this game, and TN is never a card you want to see in multiples. As we'll see, I primarily focus on Furious Yell Vegeta. I have 3 copies of Furious Yell Vegeta, and they are my focus point for Self-Awakening. That being said, they are kind of redundant with a lot of the removal that we have in the forms of Kale and Golden Frieza. I would totally be up to conversations about running 2 TN and 2 Vegetas, or just worrying about the TN and using Furious Yells in other slots. But with the testing today, these ratios didn't inherently lose me any games. Primarily on our 4-drop, of course, we're playing 4 copies of Awakened Kale. Kale being a fantastic board clear, being a way to get critical damage to draw additional cards. It is fantastic against tokens. It's very strong against things like Ginyu, which likes to play a lot of 1-drop and 2-drops. 2-drop Goku, 1-drop Goku, Boo. One time I killed 3 1-drops and a 3-drop critical Goku with Kale today. While I think my opponent could have done a better job of not playing around Kale, big pushes like that are huge in the game. Again, 2 more flex spots within the deck. I run 2 copies of Energy Boost Beerus. This was just an additional form of removal. I'm really open to a few different 4-drop 2000 double breakers that could fill the slot turn 4, turn 5. On 5, 4 copies of Returning Evil Frieza. Again, alongside Kale, definitely the most important card in the deck. This allows you to blow up your own tokens and put your opponent's cards on the bottom of their deck. It's worth noting that helps things that... excuse me. Putting things on the bottom of the deck are unique because it stops things like Vegito hitting 10 Gokus and Vegetas in grave. That was surprisingly relevant. 25,000 being much larger than 20,000 we would see with Energy Beers, and allows us to defend ourselves from things like a 5-cost Gotenks swinging on Golden Frieza. On turns that we don't have Golden Frieza, or that we're afraid of tapping all our mana on 5, 4 copies of Gotenks allows us an opportunity to keep our board untapped. As a 2-drop, pretty straightforward. I don't run any 3-drops to take advantage of the evolution play. But as we'll see, I run copies of Mafuba, which combo well with Gotenks, as well as having plenty of defense. And to round off the top of the curve, I run 1 copy of Android 17. In this version, Android 17 is a secondary target to Android 16, getting 16 off 20, and where 17 shines is again against a Cell deck, in which they're dumping your hand. You can keep a 17 in your hand to start catching back up afterwards. I did play this against Cell, and it did win me a game because of this, so it worked very well at my expectations. So plenty of spells here. I think we got 16 total. You know, we saw the objection already, but as far as defense goes, I run 1, 2, 3, 4 copies of Whisk Coercion. I think it is valuable when you have a leader like Chill that it's only 10,000 on defense, even when you're awakened, having a lot of defense. So having multiple copies of Whisk ensuring that you don't lose. In addition, 4 copies of Sensu Bean, especially against things like Gotenks, which is a very strong counter to Chill. Having a Sensu Bean to at least be able to keep up with the 15,000 is imperative. Additionally, I like using Sensu Bean in tandem with Mafuba. Sensu Bean plus a combo bait to survive, say, the leader attacking Shield, untap a blue and a green, and then whenever they attack with their strong guy, 1 of your 2 copies of Mafuba, keep things off the board. And finally, just to keep up with enough greens, we have 2 copies of Full Power Energy, and again, killing Evo baits, killing Gokus and things of that nature to ensure that we keep a clean field. when I'm thinking about ways to edit this deck, ways to overcome it, you know, I didn't have access to all the cards that I wanted. I think Promo Gohan, the 4-cost Promo Gohan, that 15,000 with critical, when you attack, excuse me, when you attack, you can, it has critical, and then you blow up a guy when you play it. I think I would focus more so on that, maybe replacing the Android 20s with copies of the Goku that draw. Pretty similar card. In place of 16, I would find an additional blue card to play. Not 100% sure on what that is. Assailant Vegeta is the first card that comes to mind. But then what I would do is, to round off the top of my curve, I would focus on 4 copies of the Promo Gohan, the green Promo Gohan, and then play 2 copies of the 7-cost Super Rare from set 2. That says your opponent can't combo with small guys on the turn that you play it, and that would give this deck a finisher on turn 6, on turn 7 that it would need to be valuable. So as a whole, this deck was pretty successful. I played against a 1-try Color Ginyu deck in the finals. I played against 1 Cell deck. I played against 2 Vechitos. I actually played against Vegeta three times. 3 Vechito, 1 Cell, 1 3-color Ginyu. And I didn't drop a single game. Very strong deck. I would encourage anybody that wants to play it. Is a tier 1. I'm not sold on it being tier 1, but I definitely think it's viable and offers a unique characteristic. Being able to play tokens and blow them up is... It's a fun thing to do. You should definitely check it out. We'll lay out the whole deck here. So again, that is the full deck. 50 cards, green, blue, shield, blue, green. As I said, opportunities to mix up playing the Android 20s and 16s are definitely optional here. I think this amount of removal, these amount of spells were ideal. Definitely had a little more destruction than needed. Reflecting upon TN, Furious Yell, and Energy Boost Beers, determining what cards that could gain you more advantage or give you more defense would definitely be a way to build upon this deck. But I think what we have here is a reliable core that was able to compete with multiple top tier decks in the format. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Have a great day. PokeRuss out. Peace.